Hello, I am FreeAZ, and this video is part of a series of videos I'm using to flesh out another One Piece theory, so you may want to watch that video first, link in the description. I will do my best to make it so these videos can be watched on their own, but if you want the full context, you should watch the other video first. The basics are, I believe that Luffy's line in Chapter 1 about gathering 10 crewmates was meant to foreshadow Luffy meeting 10 crewmates in each sea he visited, for a total of 30 at the end of the series. I have found multiple patterns that not only share a rule, but work into another pattern I have found in how these characters were introduced, making me much less likely to believe these patterns are coincidence. Using these patterns, I was able to include every island we know Luffy will visit, or is very likely to visit, giving us a roadmap to the end of the series. The first video explains the patterns I have found, and gives a rough outline of how we are going to go from 9 crewmates to 30. These supplementary videos will flesh out anything else I think will happen in these individual arcs, though having the context of the first video will help. This video will contain spoilers for up to chapter 1083, so if you're not caught up, you've been warned. This video is going to focus on the Return to Wano arc. Wano as an arc is unfinished, and many people were left unsatisfied with the conclusion. Oda pushed Yamato joining the crew hard, while also teasing people like Momo, Tama, and Carrot, yet none of them joined by the end. We only got a snippet of Kaido's backstory and Zoro's connection to Wano. Wano's act structure was a reference to Kabuki plays, which always have 5 acts, which means we still have 2 more acts left. Oda purposely made the end of Wano unfulfilling, because he knew that many of these seemingly loose or unsatisfactory ends would be tied up when Luffy returns to Wano. For those who aren't aware, there are many parallels between the Paramount War Saga and Wano. Act 1 mirrors Amazon Lily, Act 2 mirrors Impel Down, while Act 3 mirrors Marineford. There are many other examples besides the ones I'm going to give, but I will give a couple so you get the gist. In Amazon Lily, Luffy wakes up on a beach without his crew, to be found by a local girl, and learns about the execution of Ace. In Act 1 of Wano, Luffy once again wakes up on a beach without his crew, and is found by a local girl, who he informs about Ace's death. In Impel Down, Luffy is in a prison, gets poisoned by Magellan, and frees an imprisoned fishman ally, Jinbei. In Act 2 of Wano, Luffy is once again in a prison, is poisoned, and frees another fishman ally, Kawamatsu. In Marineford, Ace denies his heritage under threat of execution, while in Act 3, Momo proudly states his while also under threat of death. Ace's mother held him in her womb for 20 months, while Momo's mother sent him 20 years into the future. Whitebeard and Kaido are also parallels of each other, both of the arcs focusing on characters that were considered the strongest in the world. On top of that, Marineford and Onigashima are very similar in their layouts. One event very important to Marineford that did not get a parallel, however, was Blackbeard killing Whitebeard to get his fruit, gaining the level 6 prisoners of Impel Down as crewmates, and then destroying Marineford. When we return to Wano, I believe Blackbeard will get his 3rd devil fruit, gain the former members of the Rocks Pirates as crewmates, then destroy the borders of Wano. Before I get into all of that though, I would first like to explore the importance of 2 symbols in the world of One Piece, the Jolly Roger and the World Government symbol. Many Jolly Rogers in real life included the crossbones under the skull, yet just about every Jolly Roger in One Piece has the bones behind the skull, with very few exceptions. I believe this is intentional, and the Jolly Roger, a central figure with an X, is meant to juxtapose the World Government symbol, a central figure with a cross. However, the real reason I brought this up is both of these symbols' relation to this symbol. It is a central circle surrounded by 8 smaller circles, and has been found in places like Skypiea, Alabasta, the Kazuki family crest, and is likely tied to the Ancient Kingdom. Now, when you combine the Jolly Roger and the World Government symbol, you get a central figure with 8 ends. I think both of these symbols are derived from the older symbol, and that they are supposed to represent both of these factions not being whole in a way. This symbol is similar to the helm of a ship, and a sun with 8 planets revolving around it. All 3 ancient weapons are named after Greek gods, which in turn the planets are named after. Poseidon is Neptune, Uranus is Uranus, and Pluton is Pluto. These are the outer 3 planets in our solar system, while it seems the remaining 5 inner planets in our solar system are represented by the Gorosei, with Imu representing the Earth. In Ohara, we see a model of the One Piece world with the Earth at the center and 7 satellites. 2 of these are obviously moons, which leaves us with 5 planets circling the Earth, representing the 5 Gorosei revolving around Imu. It may be that part of the reason for the strange nature of the Grand Line is that these planets are revolving around the Earth, when they are supposed to be revolving around the Sun, represented in character by Luffy. This ancient symbol could also be the 9 planets, minus Earth, revolving around the Sun, with the center circle representing the Earth, Sun, or Moon, depending on the context. Part of the endgame of One Piece may be getting these planets back into the Sun's orbit. Finally, the main reason I brought these symbols up, Blackbeard's flag. Blackbeard's flag has this 8-ended pattern like the ancient symbol, while the trio of skulls in the center may represent the Earth, Sun, and Moon. Blackbeard already has extensive connections to the number 3 and 8, with it being his birthday, the Gorosei number of his devil fruit, and represented on his flag. Which leads me to believe that Blackbeard's long-awaited 3rd devil fruit is the 8-headed serpent fruit, Orochi's. Blackbeard and Orochi both ended up killing the people that took them in. They are both snakes. On top of this, they both have tooth gags, which would be represented in their Zoan form. This fruit also appeals to Blackbeard's potential multiple personality thing, each personality represented by the multiple heads. The reason Blackbeard will want this fruit in particular, however, is because of how hard it is to kill. Orochi was beheaded in both his human and Zoan form, yet survived. He likely also survived the burning at the end of Act 3, to keep in line with the pattern of Blackbeard killing the people he steals his fruits from. Now, I do have another potential reason Blackbeard could want this specific fruit, and to explain I'd like to go over how Big Mom got her devil fruit powers. Big Mom ate Mother Caramel whole, and subsequently gained her devil fruit powers without it reincarnating into a nearby fruit. We can infer from this that if you eat a specific part of the devil fruit user's body, you can inherit their power. I think the most likely options for this are the brain, the heart, or the stomach. When Blackbeard stole Whitebeard's devil fruit power, the people watching noticed nothing different about Whitebeard's body. However, he had a hole in both his chest and head, which could have given Blackbeard access to any of these organs. I think the stomach is the most likely option, as this would also tie into the overall themes of the importance of food in the series, as well as the powers themselves being transferred through food. Oda has said that Blackbeard's animal is a hippo, known for having a 3-chambered stomach. This is how Blackbeard already has multiple devil fruits. He may have multiple stomachs. Now, what I mean when I say that there may be another reason Blackbeard could want this fruit, is it may give him 8 brains, hearts, or stomachs, allowing him to potentially get even more devil fruits. That part I am less convinced about, but I think it's important to bring up this possibility, as it would likely be the biggest reason Blackbeard wants this fruit. Now I'd like to go over what happened the last 2 times Blackbeard gained a devil fruit. Around the time Luffy started his journey, Blackbeard killed Thatch, stole his devil fruit, and gathered his initial crew. In Marineford, Blackbeard killed Whitebeard, stole Whitebeard's devil fruit, and then gained the 5 inmates of level 6 as crewmates. If this pattern continues, Blackbeard will kill Orochi for his devil fruit, then expand his crew, and I believe the crewmates who will join him will be the former Rocks pirates. I do not believe that Kaido and Big Mom are dead, as we have no confirmation of their deaths, which in One Piece typically means they're alive. They are currently trapped beneath the earth in Wano, but Blackbeard's Quake Fruit will be able to free them. Kaido and Big Mom are no longer Yonko, and have already served under Rocks, whose will Blackbeard has inherited. Joining Blackbeard's crew is how they will remain relevant as characters once they are reintroduced into the story. I think it's also important to note that we got more information about Roger and saw him reach Laugh-Tale through Odin's flashback. When we return to Wano, I believe we may get more information about rocks and see the God Valley incident through a Kaido flashback. Weevil would be a stand-in for Whitebeard, as it's been heavily implied he is a Vegapunk clone of him. However, he also incorporates elements of Shiki's design, having the same hair as him, which leads me to believe he may be a stand-in for both Whitebeard and Shiki. He may be a clone of Whitebeard and Shiki together, which would give him the One Piece equivalent of a YY chromosome, which would explain why he is both so stupid and so strong. In the same vein, Bonnie may end up being a clone of Big Mom and another woman, though XX chromosomes are natural, so there's no side effects. Stussy is an obvious stand-in for Bucket, and the last slot could be taken by a multitude of people. It could just be another Rocks pirate we haven't met yet, like Silver Axe or Wang Ji, but I put a rouge here because when Blackbeard gained the prisoners of Impel Down, there was one odd man out, Shiryu, the former warden who was not part of Blackbeard's battle royale in level 6. And with that, the destruction of Wano's borders will make it vulnerable to outside threats like the world government or other pirates, causing Momo, Tama, Yamato, and Carrot to flee with the Straw Hats and join the crew. At the end of Wano, Oda teased all of these characters joining the crew, only for none of them to join. Yamato pushed hard to join the crew, and Luffy seemed to accept it. Now that they have traveled through Wano like Odin, they will join the crew when we return to Wano. Carrot was said to inherit Pedro's will, but Pedro's will was to ride with Roger and bring the dawn of the world. She doesn't seem to really want to rule the Minks. Tama was already promised a spot on the crew if she can use ninjutsu by the next time Luffy meets her. Luffy directly told Momo and Kinemon that he considered them part of the crew. However, Kinemon does not fit onto the final list of Straw Hats for multiple reasons, so I believe he is likely going to actually die when we return to Wano. This is why Oda teased all of these characters at the end of Wano, only for none of them to board the Sunny at the end. Oda wanted to mess with people's expectations for the final crew, but if all 4 joined at the end of Wano, this would lead to 13 crewmates, already breaking the expectation he currently built up for 10 or 12 crewmates. So first, Oda is going to mess with our expectations for 10 crewmates by teasing Vivi, but ultimately giving us Bonnie as the 10th Straw Hat. After Smoker joins, Oda will make it seem like Momo will be the 12th and final member, until we finally get the reveal of Blackbeard's new crew, and can expand the crew to 15 crewmates. After everything is said and done, Luffy's next stop is Elbaf, and the next video will cover Elbaf all the way to Laugh-Tale.